Okay, so I heard about this right here. The stone-faced ex back in Ohio to face the dentist killing. Apparently, he killed his ex's new man or something like that. You gonna check it out. Here comes an ad. I already know it.
I mean, Eli would tell you I have a huge forehead or a neck, and that's kind of his go-to joke. He uses the same joke for 5 years now. Claire, it gets old. I mean, he's got to get some new.
We have a
Sure.
big update in the case of the vascular surgeon accused of killing his wife and her husband. You were
Oh,
taking a
both
look
of them.
at a mugshot of Michael McKee, now back in the state of Ohio, the man accused of killing Monique Tepe and Spencer Tepe. And we're also learning some new details from someone who claims to be an ex-girlfriend of Michael McKee. And you will want to hear what she had to say about their alleged relationship. We're on The Case, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart.
Oh, that's his
Hey guys, real
ex-wife.
quick, before we hop into this episode of On the Case, I want to talk about our partner and sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, America's largest personal injury law firm. They're a firm of more than 1,000 attorneys who have recovered $25 billion for more than
You knew a motherfucker was gonna
500,000
comment on his
clients. In the
chin.
past few months alone, a client in Florida received $12 million when insurance offered just
Wasn't he in The
$350,000.
Incredibles?
In Pennsylvania, another client was awarded $26 million. That is 40 times what he was like
Fuck that
and
ass.
what he has been up to in the years since his divorce from Monique Tepe. Monique's maiden name was Savatursky. She married Michael McKee in 2015, but it was a marriage, as we have talked about, that came to a very quick end in 2017. Now, as this investigation was going on, it appeared on the surface that this was an amicable divorce. Obviously, no divorce is a pleasure to go through, but this one, it was filed in 2017, and a month and a half later, it was finalized. But clearly, amicable is not the way that anybody would describe this divorce, considering what Michael McKee is now accused of. There's also been just a ton of speculation about Michael McKee, who he was, what he's been up to. I mean, we spoke to a former neighbor of his in Chicago at the luxury high-rise building who said Michael McKee was nice, that she would never suspect that he would be accused.
You that tender, bro? Like, if this is true, you that tender? Just go find a new one, bro. This ain't nothing to kill over. And I got a different viewpoint on marriage and motherfuckers marrying divorced women. You know that's in the Bible. Or you marry a divorced woman, that's adultery.
What may happen next from a legal perspective in just a moment. We also just learned before this recording when Michael McKee will appear in Ohio court. But I want to get to some new information that we are getting when it comes to filling in the timeline about who Michael McKee is, what he was like, and what he has been up to in the years since his divorce from Monique Tepe. Monique's maiden name was Savatursky. She married Michael McKee in 2015, but it was a marriage, as we have talked about, that came to a very quick end in 2017. Now, as this investigation was going on, it appeared on the surface that this was an amicable divorce. Obviously, no divorce is a pleasure to go through, but this one, it was filed in 2017, and a month and a half later, it was finalized. But clearly, amicable is not the way that anybody would describe this divorce, considering what Michael McKee is now accused of. There's also been just a ton of speculation about Michael McKee, who he was, what he's been up to. I mean, we spoke to a former neighbor of his in Chicago at the luxury high-rise building who said Michael McKee was nice, that she would never suspect that he would be accused of something like he is, but she did say that he was someone who often appeared to be alone, never
Said luxury high rise building, huh? So he had money.
told us that they remember him being incredibly smart, but sometimes it seemed like he struggled socially to fit in. We found a now deleted TikTok that went viral over the weekend of a woman who claimed to have dated Michael McKee. And in that TikTok, she posted these pictures that appear to show her and McKee when he went to meet her family. Now, we're not naming this woman, we're not showing her face because she didn't respond to us for comment, and frankly, we can't confirm the relationship ourselves. But there were some interesting things that she had to say. Now, we did reach out to this TikTok user to see if she would want to come on and just talk about her experience. She didn't get back to us, and she has deleted that post that was starting to gain traction. It was starting to get
I
picked up
bet.
by media outlets. This woman says, though, that she met McKee when he was a general surgery resident. So this would be in Virginia, and in 2017, shortly after Michael McKee's divorce from Monique went official. This woman claims that she dated Michael McKee for the end of 2017 and then through the majority of 2018. And she talked about the marriage to Monique Tepe and what Michael McKee told her about that marriage coming to an end. And from McKee's perspective, according to this woman who posted to TikTok, the divorce was a shock for Michael McKee because he had claimed that he came home one day after work and Monique was gone. Their dog was gone and Monique's stuff was gone. Now,
What?
that's certainly one perspective if that's what Michael McKee believes, because then you have members of Spencer Tepe's family. His brother-in-law told us at Law and Crime that they believe that Michael McKee was verbally abusive to Monique during that marriage, which led to the divorce. Now, the woman said in her TikTok that she is shocked about what Michael McKee is accused of because she felt like he was a nice guy, that he always treated her well, but she ended the relationship because for as nice as he was, they just couldn't find a deep connection. And it just seemed like he had a wall up while they were dating. This is someone who appears to have checked all the boxes from a book smart perspective. The Times Recorder in Zanesville, a newspaper, has an article from 1994 when McKee was in the first grade, saying that he was an honorable mention for a Ohio Secretary of State poster contest. And then when he was 13, the paper has him again mentioned for an excellent rating at a state science day. Then he's 14. He wins the city spelling bee. And then McKee goes on to graduate high school, top of his class there. He was a National Merit Scholar and a Biology Student of the Year and member of the National Honor Society. And he placed in the top 25 at Ohio University's American History Contest and was honorable mention All-State in football. So this was a guy, if it was a LinkedIn profile.
Tech companies don't understand legal workflows. I hear this objection all the time that technology companies don't
Seem like a
understand
well put together
legal
fella,
workflows.
huh?
It's true, but it's also nuanced.
That's what it sound like to me. And he tripping about his old bitch.
No, Sir Kyle is down.
But the sword fighting is the best part.
Just found a new bitch, man.
You feel like he is heading in the right direction. He then goes to Columbus, and at some point he meets Monique Sabatersky, who goes on to become Monique Tepe. There's pictures on Facebook of the two of them together around 2013, so they end up dating, and then they marry in 2015, and they would have been in their late 20s. So as a married couple, Monique and McKee moved to Virginia, and that's where McKee is continuing his journey to become a surgeon by doing a residency. And on May 2nd, 2017, the marriage officially is filed to come to an end. Monique files for divorce in Franklin County, Ohio. The complaint reads that
who gives up all of that? You on your way to become a surgeon. Who gives up all of that to, go back and kill your ex-wife and her new dentist husband? Something must be going on with that surgeon story. Like maybe he didn't make the cut. Maybe he kind of left. Maybe it didn't work out or something.
at the time she filed for divorce, she had been living in Ohio for more than 6 months while McKee was still in Virginia. So this was a marriage that had come to an end long before the divorce was finalized. So roughly a month and a half after Monique files for divorce in Ohio, the divorce was granted on June 16th, 2017. This here's the divorce decree that states the parties are incompatible, and as such, the wife is entitled to a divorce. It goes on to say, the marriage contract existing between husband and wife is hereby terminated, and the parties are hereby released from any obligation of the same except as set forth in.
Do you hear that? Do you hear the wording of that? People got to understand what marriage really is. That's an economic contract. That's not a marriage on. That's what marriage is today. It's not how it is described in the Bible or the Quran or the Torah, whatever religion you subscribe to. That's an economic contract tying two people together in their finances with the state. That's what marriage is.
In the separation agreement. Now, you can see on that day in June, both Monique and McKee signed the document ending their marriage. So the separation agreement lays out the details of the divorce, and this line caught our eye, considering what McKee is now accused
Capitalism.
of. Quote, each party shall have a right to privacy in their individual residences, except as allowed herein, neither party shall enter the residence of the other without permission of the resident spouse and only with prior approval. Husband and wife may and shall be free from interference, authority, and control, direct or indirect, by the other fully as if she or he were single and unmarried. Now, perhaps standard wording for divorces, but it's in some ways a sad foreshadowing of what happened inside Monique's home on December 30th. So it's unclear why police think that McKee allegedly chose that day, December 30th, to kill Monique and her second husband, Spencer Tepe, who was a dentist. It's unclear what was going on in his life at the time. Now, the only thing that we know at this point about McKee, as far as the months leading up to the deaths of the Tepes, is that it appeared that he was running from a malpractice lawsuit out of Nevada. This 2024 lawsuit accuses a physician's assistant of inserting a catheter incorrectly before a procedure. Now, the catheter allegedly broke and it left an 8.6-inch part in the patient's body. Now, McKee was working for a surgical group at the time, and he is named in the lawsuit not because of the procedure, but because he, according to this lawsuit, was responsible for training the person who put the catheter in, and the lawsuit alleges that he didn't do that. But the part of this story with that lawsuit that is so concerning is that when it came time to serve Michael McKee with court documents related to this lawsuit, no one could find him. He was gone. The company trying to serve him an amended complaint tried 9 times, and they could not find him in Las Vegas starting exactly 3 months before the murders. And not
Hell no, you wouldn't find me trying to sue me either.
only did it turn out that his Nevada surgical license had expired in the summer of 2025, but his own office in these court documents is listed as saying that Dr. Michael McKee just disappeared, and it's alleged that the address that he gave to his office was not a real address. Now, at the time that the Tepes were murdered, McKee was working for a medical center out of Rockford, Illinois. It's about an hour and a half west of Chicago. McKee did live in Chicago, though, in a luxury condo building, and these are the videos of police investigating that property after his arrest. And police say they found weapons in his apartment unit on the 12th floor, including one that they claim is tied to the murder scene in Columbus through a preliminary link. Now, police say on December 30th, in the early hours of the morning, McKee allegedly drove from Rockford, Illinois to Columbus, which is roughly a 7-hour drive. He then allegedly entered the Tepes' home and shot both of them in the bedroom multiple times on the second floor, and then he left. And he allegedly drove back to Rockford, where he was arrested days later, close to where he worked. Now, he was allegedly arrested by federal agents with the ATF at a Chick-fil-A more than 10 days after the murders. The Tepes' children, who are 4 and 1 years old, they were home at the time that their parents were allegedly murdered by Michael McKee, but they were unharmed. There's also a golden doodle dog that was in the home. That dog was unharmed as well, and all of them are now with the care of family.
Parents of children who play Roblox.
This is a crazy story. Like the new husband, where his pistol at? How did he just waltz into the house? Did he have a key? Was it like a breaking and entering type of situation?
Michael McKee.
So this is Michael McKee when he made a brief court appearance for the first time in Winnebago County, Illinois. This was on January 12th. He said his name calmly to the judge when he was asked for it, and then he waived his right to extradition, which cleared the way for him to return to Ohio. And that is where we are now in this story. An Ohio grand jury has indicted Michael McKee on 5 counts. So he is no longer just charged with 2 counts of aggravated murder. He is now facing 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of aggravated burglary. And we learned a new piece of information about what he allegedly had on him the night that he allegedly committed these murders. Here's the indictment. And when you look at the counts for aggravated murder, they have a specification for the use of automatic weapon / silencer displayed or brandished firearm. More specifically, quote, the grand jurors further find and specify that Michael McKee had a firearm that was equipped with a firearm muffler or suppressor on or about his person or under his control while committing the offense. Now, on the charge of aggravated burglary, which has now been added on, the grand jury believed that there was enough evidence to prove that McKee trespassed into the Tepe's home and either
He
was
stay
in
in
possession
Chicago. That's where
of
them
a
switches
deadly
come
weapon
from.
or attempted, threatened, or inflicted harm to another, which we know he
Illinois.
allegedly did, both
Damn.
qualifying factors according to Ohio law. Now, police said they believe this person of interest, you remember this video, that person who was seen on neighborhood surveillance walking behind the Tepe's home around the time that police say they were murdered, between 2 and 5 in the morning on December 30th. They now say that they believe that person of interest, in fact, was Michael McKee. Police have also said there's a lot of information that they cannot release as of yet that they believe ties him to this scene. Now, they have not said how they believe he was able to get into Spencer and Monique Tepe's home. Police have said there was no sign of forced entry. So still at that point, that is a mystery. Now, McKee's attorney for extradition, which was a public defender for his hearing in Illinois, told local media that she expects her client to plead not guilty to the charges he faces in Ohio. And we'll see what happens when he is eventually arraigned. Right now, he is slated to be arraigned in a Columbus courtroom on Friday at 1 p.m. Joining us now to talk more about this case from Ohio is retired Judge Fanon Rucker. Now,
I'm not gonna lie. This sounds like a case. What I'm hearing so far, this sounds like a case. The right lawyer can get this taken care of. The right lawyer, it sounds like can get this taken care of. I'm not hearing nothing. You can't really tell that that's him. Granted, I think he did do that shit. I mean, like, who else did it? Some random person breaking in the middle of the night, shoot her and her new husband. Yeah, he probably one of them jealous motherfuckers. Got inside there, couldn't never let it go, couldn't move on or whatever. Broke inside the home, shot her, and shot her husband. But I keep on hearing this luxury apartment. Like, if you got a little money, bro, you ought to be able to find you something new.
now an attorney. Thank you as always for being with us on Law and Crime. There's been a ton of attention on this case, and for good reason. There's a lot of information coming out, but now a big development is Michael McKee is back in the state of Ohio. Now that he's been extradited to Ohio, what happens next?
So, and thanks for having me on. Glad to be here. McKee was indicted, but he was extradited. Now, what does it extradited mean? It means that you get transferred from one location to the other. And that can happen in two ways. One, you can voluntarily agree to be extradited because you know that you're going to have to go and
Kind of want to get to some more important stuff. Like,
indictment. And then there's a second.
Is there
parole.
something else that we can hear?
I needed it because my fridge is super empty. I'm gonna open the box.
Let me look him up. Michael McKee. I want to look him up online. Maybe find something else online. Copy. I'm gonna go to Google. Okay, not being suspect. Tape homicide, blah blah blah. Let's go back. We're gonna see what else is right here, and then we'll check out the internet.
Certain circumstances, aggravated murder implicates the death penalty. And that would have had to have been identified in the indictment, which there's no indication at this time that they're pursuing the death penalty.
Where it would be something specific on the indictment that they believe he used a silencer.
Well, in addition to the aggravated burglary,
as to why it happened on that particular night and what exactly the motivating factor specifically was.
Well, in proving, and let's understand in criminal convictions, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the highest standard that our legal system affords or requires in order to take people's lives, their liberty, or their property. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Motive is helpful to proving or to obtaining that standard, but it's not required. If all they ever are able to prove or to produce is the evidence that in fact shows that he was the person who committed these heinous murders, the motive is not required. The motive would be helpful, perhaps, and certainly I can promise you that the seasoned investigators and detectives who are working this case are feverishly working to pour through evidence. We have online stamps, we have social media stamps, and they're going to be relationships and coworkers that are interviewed by detectives to see if they can obtain some hint of a motive. It's helpful, but it's not required to establish that proof beyond a reasonable doubt. We may never know unless there is some tip of the iceberg that is revealed during the investigative process, or perhaps if he is in fact guilty of these offenses, he decides to reveal it himself.
There's a lot that we still don't know and will come out, because we're still in the very beginning stages of this. But of the evidence that the Columbus Police Chief Elaine Bryant put out there, we know that they believe they have video surveillance of him behind the home. They believe that that person that they
Let's look at some comments, man. I'm just wondering for what. I'm sure he hates the world and himself. Okay, we have a big update. All we have is a new mugshot. I mean, like facts. I'm not hearing nothing. Like I don't get it. Every crime case is tragic, but the absurdity of this one hits differently. It is kind of just absurd. Like, my boy, what the fuck did you like? What you doing that for? I don't get it. You drove 7 hours to kill your ex-wife and her new husband. The question is just like, for what? And Nancy Grace, you already know what she gonna be talking about. We're not gonna watch her. I've been watching. I've been seeing Nancy Grace online since I was a little kid. Why are you saying killing his wife? She was not his wife. No, she was not his wife. Enjoyed this guest, very informative. Okay, the judge gave the best legal commentary on this case. Please have him back. He looks so weird and creepy, like something isn't natural. It's really strange. Well, when you're accused of double murder, I bet it is looking a little weird on you now. What about his family? Have they come to support him? I'll be wondering the same thing. Stone faced is savage because he actually looks like a Stonehead statue. Morgan and Morgan totally sucks. Let's see. Michael McKee correspondent, age 70. Okay, this cannot be. No, actually, the New York Post, the Columbus Dispatch, 1 day ago, 9 hours ago. Tate murder, first Ohio court scheduled for Michael McKee. Let's see. Let's go to this one. People's Magazine. Okay. Close. No thanks. The surgeon charged with murdering his ex-wife and her dentist husband has now been booked in Ohio jail. Michael McKee was extradited from Illinois to Franklin County on Tuesday afternoon, where he is expected to make his first appearance in the Franklin court. For common pleas as early as this week, a grand jury voted to indict him on the 4 counts of aggravated murder. Blah, 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 blah. The couple was found dead from apparent gunshot wounds in their Columbus home on December 30th, just a few feet away from their sleeping toddler. Ooh-wee. McKee was taken into custody on January 10th by federal agents near his medical office in Rockford, approximately 80 miles west of Chicago. We need proof that he was there, man. Like, I'm not saying that he didn't do it. And for real, sometimes motherfuckers just can't get over that shit. And, they'll do some crazy things. I do believe that as well. But if I don't hear no like real undeniable proof, a good lawyer, and it sound like he might have a little money, a good lawyer can save his life. Let's see. The couple married in December 2020 and were parents to a 4-year-old daughter and 18-month-old son. McGee had been living in Las Vegas but moved to Illinois at some point in the past 2 years, where he purchased a penthouse apartment in Chicago. They've been divorced for some years, man. Like 3 months before the murder, he was named as a defendant in a minute complaint accusing him of medical malpractice while working at a clinic in Las Vegas. May he rot in jail from Bonnie. Well, you don't know if you don't know if that's really him, Bonnie. You don't know if he did that. He probably did do that shit, but you gotta prove he did that shit. That's how the law works. You know. Let me see. This was just 1 minute. We're just gonna watch this real quick. I'm just not getting enough from this story. It's bizarre to me right now. It's just too bizarre.
This case will most certainly be litigated, and he will enter a not guilty plea to all of those counts, I can assure you.
As Michael McKee spends his first night in a Franklin County jail, he's one night closer to learning his fate. McKee's booked on 4 counts of aggravated murder, accused of killing Monique and Spencer Tepe in their Columbus home on December 30th.
Well, the first thing that'll be on his mind, and this is a presumption on my part, will be a bail, some sort of bond that makes sense in this case, one that hopefully he can make.
Columbus criminal defense attorney Sam Szymanski is not representing McKee, but speaks from his experience. A judge will determine whether McKee can bond out of jail and the conditions of his bond during his upcoming arraignment hearing.
It depends on the judge's comfort level regarding the circumstances, but given the fact that this man is a surgeon and has no criminal record, I presume, and again hasn't done anything to absent himself from the jurisdiction, it wouldn't be unreasonable, at least it wouldn't be an unreasonable request if he's granted bail to allow him to return home.
Court records reveal McKee lives in a complex in Chicago.
Are there situations where he would not be allowed to return out of state?
For sure, a judge could say, hey, look, I'm going to grant bail, but rent an apartment here, have an ankle monitor, be under the auspices of our probation department, and you're not leaving Franklin County. It's possible.
Szymanski tells me the defense attorney on the case will also begin to look into the evidence. Columbus police say they found the gun used in the crimes on McKee's property, and court records allege he used a silencer.
Stakes are incredibly
So
high
they
in this
got
case,
the
and
weapon.
in every murder case, and it has to be treated with great attention and skill and dedication to trying to win. Because you can rest assured the prosecutor's office will be doing the same thing, along with the police.
If the weapon that they found in his home is the weapon that if they'll be able to know if the weapon they found in his home is the weapon that murdered his ex-wife and her now husband. Weapons there's like rifling inside of in the barrel, and it leaves marks on the bullets basically. So the police will be able to test that. If it was him, if that was the weapon that he used, this motherfucker cooked. I ain't gonna lie to you. He cooked. And even if he did do it, like, why the fuck would you keep the weapon? And it just still's not making no sense. Why is he still on Earth? If he gets out, which I highly doubt it, whatever happens is on the people who let him out. Are you freaking crazy? He's not normal and out in public. You should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know, man. I keep on saying the right lawyer get this shit thrown away. The right lawyer will save his life. But I'm gonna call this video right here just because it's just not enough. It's not enough information. It's not enough information going on. Like I'm not hearing enough. I think he did it. I do think he did it, but I'm not hearing enough that say, yeah, without a doubt, he did that shit. But I think he did it. That's just from my intuition. It just don't make no sense. Like, After all these years, you could not let this woman go? Motherfucker, move on. How did he get inside the apartment? Not the apartment. How did he get inside of their home? Did he have a key? Was it breaking and entering? My boy, where your pistol at? Where your pistol at? Now motherfucking done broke inside your home. Killed you and your lady. And it's a sad situation. But where your pistol at? Y'all get inside the commercial below. Let me know what you think about this. This one of them crazy ass stories right here. This sound like some OJ shit. You know, OJ, his ex-wife, her new man, both murdered. But you know, OJ, he was found not guilty. This motherfucker right here, I don't know if he got OJ money. I heard luxury apartment, but whenever they showed a picture of the condo in Chicago, his place in Chicago, let me see if I can find it. See if I can find it again. Where's that? Where's that? Yeah, I'm thinking about a different kind of luxury. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about a little something different. Y'all get inside the commercial below. Let me just think about this. Man, this is a 30-minute video. I'll catch y'all on the next one.